Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Review, Classified Review. I'm David Allen, or if you like, Super Dave. Hello, everybody in the chat. Good morning, Sean Jones 375. Thank you. Happy Super Day, Saturday, Super Dave, or Super. Thanks for joining us. So I hope you had an opportunity to watch my episode with Brian Flynn of Super 7 yesterday. It was quite an enlightening episode, interview with him. I got a lot of information from him and a little bit of an understanding of as to what is going on with Super 7 and Reaction Plus and so on and so forth. I forgot to ask about Ultimates, which that's a bad on me, but that's the way it goes. So we are here to talk about our 15th vintage package figure, and that is Snow Serpent. Another one of those odd figures that they went back to the well on because I guess people had a hard time getting the first version of the Serpent, the Snow Serpent, the deluxe version of the Snow Serpent. So this is the deluxe version of the Snow Serpent. I kept it mostly vintage looking. I didn't put all the pelts and all the animal skins and stuff on it. This one looks very, very similar to that, except all the blues are lighter, and some of the accessories are different. I really like this artwork, very inspired by the vintage version of the Snow Serpent from Hector Garrido back in the 80s. Then we have the file card there. Let's go into what it says on the file card. It says Snow Serpent, role Polar Assault, primary specialty Arctic operations, secondary specialty infantry. So Snow Serpents are the Arctic specialist branch of the Eels, Cobra combat divers. They undergo a 6-month cold weather course somewhere above the Arctic Circle, training in airborne operations under Arctic conditions, anti-tank procedures, and the use of snowshoes, skis, and kayaks. So there you go. And then we have the cross sell. So we've done all three of these figures so far from the vintage package line. The new vintage package line is it's a universal release. So it can be sold on all the online stores, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Amazon, and they are also in store like Target and Walmart as well. So it's a universal release, not exclusive like the previous Walmart vintage package line. So let's get this puppy opened up and we'll see what he has in him. I have to be careful because the little stand always pops off when I'm not watching very closely. So I'll get that stand out of there real quick first. There it is. And that's interesting. They changed the stand from black to white for the Snow Serpent. Very cool. I like that a lot. I like the original Snow Serpent. He was really cool. He had a lot of accessories and a lot of playability. So now that we've got two Snow Serpents, we can maybe play around with a lot of the accessories and the equipment that came with the previous one. So I'm going to put this down here now, get it out of the way. Let's see, take him out of there. So this won't be that long of a video, depending upon how much you guys ask questions and get involved in this. It'll probably be a small video. I have a really big video coming up shortly. That's going to have a bunch of stuff in it. So he's definitely a lot whiter. I'll give him that. He looks a lot whiter to me. If you look at the shoulder pauldrons, there's a lot of like gray and wash on the pelts and a lot of the arms and the hands and stuff like that. Whereas this one, it's just plain white. There's not as much wash on it like there was on the original classified release of him. But basically, the mold is the same. The body is identical. All the secondaries are identical. The tampos are the same with that little red Cobra logo right there with the little blue on either arm. Both of those are the same. A lot of the color decos hits on him are lighter. Like the silver is a much brighter silver. The black in the mask is a little bit different black. It's much more of a normal black, whereas the previous one was more of a flat black. And then that silver again on there. Then the buckles on the silver on the back as well. But all the paint apps are a much brighter blue compared to this one. You can tell that they're a lot darker blue. I would have liked to have kind of gotten the 2000 Snow Serpent that was a little more red. I think that would have been kind of cool, because then you could have got the main guy could have been with the pelts and stuff. Then you could have used these guys as the red ones as his like subordinates or whatever, and they could have worked together. But all the same articulation points, the butterflied shoulders, the double pin elbows and knees, the foot rockers, the second ankle articulation. Actually, this one does not. The Snow Serpent didn't have the secondary ankle articulation. Neither did the arms, but they have the thigh and calf articulation, the same crotch and leg articulation. Sean Jones, love the Snow Serpent. He was a favorite of mine as a kid. Yeah, there's a lot of people that did like the Snow Serpent. He was a popular figure back in the 80s because I guess he was unique, and he had a lot of different colors and a lot of equipment and stuff like that. When you put them all together, he looks really cool. When they started doing different troop builders like the Eels, the Snow Serpents, the Crimson Guards, a lot of people started to really get into this line and start troop building a lot of these bad guys like this. So I think he was cool. And the fact that they used a lot of the snow scenes with G.I. Joe and Sunbow, with the Mass Device, the Weather Dominator, Arise, Serpentor, Arise, and so on. The Pyramids of Darkness, even, I think they might have been in there. So there was a lot of snow Arctic battle. So you could use this and use your imagination and imagine it for that, a lot of that. So there you go. But overall, he's pretty much the same as the previous Snow Serpent, with the exception of the color separations and deco and brighter colors. So let's get into some of his accessories. You liked his helmet. You thought he looked really cool as a vintage one, his helmet. The helmet on these ones are a little bit slender and smaller than the vintage. The vintage one had a much like bigger helmet, and it was wider, and he kind of looked a little bit more menacing, I guess, huh? Sean Jones? So let's get into some of his accessories. Now, this was a bit of a contentious thing with this version of the Snow Serpent, because this is a vintage packaged figure. People felt he should have came with more of the vintage packaged vintage accessories, but he didn't. He came with some of the similar accessories of the first release, like these snowshoes. these are not the vintage snowshoes. They are the new snowshoes that came with the previous Snow Serpent. Um, do people use those type of snowshoes still, or do they use snowshoes like these? That's something I was curious about. Um, maybe someone in the chat can tell me if the vintage snowshoes are out of vogue nowadays, so they have to use these newer snowshoes. Good morning, Terrence Childs. Thanks for joining us this today. Appreciate it. You should have an old red shirt with a black cobra insignia on it. It would look a whole lot better. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good, Terrence. Thank you. Um, yeah, I want to get one of those. There's 80s tees. I plan on getting that one. There's a GI Joe. It's called what, a ringer shirt with the rings around the arms and the collar. Terrence, I plan on getting that in a something wrong with the chat. I'm not sure, but yeah. So yeah, I want to get that shirt from 80s tees, right? Stay. All right. So then I'm going to take his backpack out. Now his backpack is different. It is not the same backpack that the previous release came with. The previous release came with the missile backpack and this holder for his bazooka and stuff like that. And there's the new backpack, completely a different backpack. There is a little bit of a black deco on those canteens, though. So it is different in that respect. And so that gives you a little bit more modularity and change for this. So then you can mix and match the accessories to get them looking different. So that's more the bazooka guy. And then you can put the pelts and stuff maybe on this guy and make him a little bit more the leader or something like that. He does not want to stay up because now I have his backpack on there. He's a little top heavy. So we'll do that. So he's got his goggles, which the previous one had, but they changed the color deco on the goggles for this one. They're a lot brighter blue, which I kind of like that brighter blue on there better. So I'm going to put that on his helmet, like the previous one. Get that on there, kind of like that. See if I can get it to stay on there. There. So there, I got that helmet on there, or the goggles on there, and his backpack so far. So then he's got a couple of pistols to go into the holsters. He's got the two holsters, the same holsters that the previous one had on the left and right legs. So we're going to put these two pistols in those holsters. So it's the same pistols, and they're the same black color. There's no deco on those. So we'll put those there. And that one there. So there we got those two pistols in there. Let's see. So then he has a different rifle. This is not the same rifle that he had. So this is more like a sniper type of rifle. And I can't remember who had this one with this little thing on it like that in the past, which Cobra. But there's so much detail in that. So this is more of one where he could sit in the snow and he could target people. It's like a targeting rifle and stuff like that. And there's lots of cool futuristic detail and added stuff that's on that I like. It's not the same one that came with the first version. It's a little bit different than that one. So I'm going to put that one in his hand here. There. And then I'm going to put that little thing up there. I'm going to try to get him to cross over. There's a little gap in the arms on this that I don't particularly care for. In the gap between the shoulder pauldrons there with the pelt on there, there's a gap between that, so it's not very. I don't like that much. I'm going to try to get this hand to hold that other part of the rifle. We'll see if I can do it. All right, I got it. So there, I got him to hold both of his handles on the rifle there. So now you can imagine him trudging through the snow, and he's trying to find his target to shoot. So now you have both snow serpents. So there you go. Double the snow serpents. So there you go. That's all complete. So what do you guys think? Do you like this one better? Which one do you like better? Terrence Childs and Sean Jones and everybody in the chat. Do you like the first version better, or do you like the vintage packaged version better? Or do you think they should have tried for the reddish snow serpent from the 2000s that was released? I think there's kind of room for both of these because now we're getting the Arctic Assault Hiss, and there's another snow serpent kind of character that's the driver of the Hiss, and he's got the body, but his helmet is different. Lego Star Wars Kid 5459. You like the retro one better? Thanks for joining the chat again this morning. Appreciate it. But as I was saying, we're getting the Arctic Assault Hiss as a pre-orderable situation. So we're going to have another Hiss, another snow serpent that'll have a Hiss driver helmet. So it's interesting that we'll have three different snow serpents kind of in that vein, but they're kind of also connected to the eels as well. It said in the file card that they were eels that were trained for Arctic assault training and so on and so forth. So they're kind of connected to the eels as well. Sean Jones, you like the deluxe one better? Why is that? Because of all the animal pelts and the interchangeability and the modulability of it? I would have liked, if they were going to do that, I wish there was two snow serpents in that package with all that stuff, because it's like you can't use all of it on one guy. But now that we have two, now we can. So that kind of helps with the deluxe one being able to be modular with this version. And now you also get the Arctic Hiss one as well. So you can mix and match a lot of the accessories and the equipment and stuff like that. So you can have a kind of a squad of snow serpents that way, right? I guess that's a good way to look at it. So let's see what else is going on. So our next video is going to be a fairly large video, because we're going to be going over two items. It's another completely brand new faction of Cobra. So these are going to be two Cobra items with a new faction, and it'll be together. So it's going to be the stuff. Okay. All the cool stuff. I gotcha. So it's going to be a fairly large video. Well, we're going to do it tomorrow. And that's, I think, all the hints I'll give you on that, but it's going to be a really cool one. I'll give you one more hint. It kind of connects to the classified HasLab Hiss tank. That's a big one, right? You love the mix and match. Yeah, I think that's the really interesting thing about classified is the mixing and matching, the modular ability. You can take the heads off, put it on a different character. So characters that have heads or masked heads, you can keep the masked head on them, maybe use the regular head for other characters. Like there's I think it's somebody that's got a redhead type face and everything, and then they have a masthead. But I would use that redhead maybe for barbecue if I needed to, you know. I love the retro colors. Oh, you like the retro colors, Lego Star Wars kid? Yeah, the retro colors is brighter. I like that color deco better than the vintage, or I shouldn't say the first version. I like it better than the first version. I agree with you. I wish it was closer to that, but that gave us the window to get the vintage package in order to do the first one so they could reuse the molds. So I kind of understand why they did it, but I definitely agree with you. I like the colored deco better on the vintage package version. Um, Whereas the eels, it was very minor. It was barely any difference on that. It was the reds were just a little bit brighter. But with the eels, at least with the divers, you can stick the divers with the eels and the vintage pack. So you have another squad of divers for Cobras too. So now we have a squad of snow serpents and a squad of eels to kind of battle GI Joe under the seas and in the Arctic. So I like that playability, and I like that um, the um, the troop building aspect there, where you can do a bunch of stuff. Eels have the Caucasian. Yeah, you have the Caucasian. They had didn't they have couple of heads with the eels? I'm not sure. Did the vintage one have a different head? So they had different heads, so you could use them. Oh, good morning, Lone Dragon. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it. Yeah, so the eels had different color heads, right? Um, Lego Star Wars kids. So you can't have them be different people if you wanted to. I don't know if I can't recall if the divers had different heads. Uh, Yeah, it's darker on the first one. The reds were a little bit more burgundy, and the vintage one was a little brighter red, like a more of a I don't know, red, whereas the other one was more of a burgundy red. You're right. But it still works. You can still do squads and stuff like that. In photography, I don't know if you'd be able to tell the difference if you did like an underwater scene with that. And the same with the Arctics. I don't know, depending upon the lighting and stuff like that, would you be able to tell the difference? Um, you love the multicolors. Yeah, I do too. I think it works. It helps the line grow and gets that troop aspect better and stuff like that. I'm wondering now that we've got Joe Arctic characters like Flint and Lady J, will we get other Joes in that type vein? And will we get some Arctic Cobras in that vein as well? We could get like a Arctic Deco Cobra Commander, Destro, Dr. Mindbender, Baroness, and so on and so forth. I think that would be interesting. Would they go that way? Would they the Hasbro team? There's so much stuff to get to. I don't know if they would do that uh, first or later, earlier or later with the those characters of reuse. But they are doing it with Flint and they're doing it with Lady J. So who knows? We might get something down the road. You never know. There's been a rumor of the Battle Polar Bear with a female Arctic character, and I don't know who that is. I've speculated that I thought it was going to be Dana because she did join the GI Joe ranks in the 2000s, so she was a Joe, so they could do that version of her. and put her with the battle polar bear. I don't know. Or another version of Snow Job, or um, who knows? There's so many snow Arctic Joes. There's Blizzard, there's Iceberg, there's um, tons of them. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. But trying to get a redeco of another character like that would be kind of cool as well. Another Snow Job might be cool to have with that. There's also Stalker with his kayak. So there's a lot of cool Arctic characters that have been released now, because we have the Arctic Snow Job, we have the Arctic Storm Shadow, the Arctic Bat. We got two Snow Serpents. Um, Snowcat is gonna be really cool. It definitely is. From all the videos that I've seen it's a wide vehicle. It's not as tall. It's kind of a medium tall vehicle, but it's definitely wide and long. So it is going to be bulky. So I am looking forward to it. I'm glad that it got funded, and I'm glad we're getting all those characters with Frostbite and all those characters. And so it's in the fact that they've already leaked Snow um, Iceberg as a name only, and we're going to have Frostbite, Lady J, and Flint. So we'll have a bunch of Arctic Joes. We'll have a bunch of Arctic Cobras. So all you guys that are doing photography and the scenes, uh, the the play scenes and stuff like that. I look forward to seeing some of that, because it's going to be epic to see that Arctic Hiss with the Snowcat and all those figures battling each other. You can even probably put in the snake armor in there as well, because that was in the Arctic, in the mass device as well. So there's a lot of really cool stuff you could play around with Arctic scenery and dioramas and stuff like that. So I look forward to that. I think you guys will do a really great job with that. I I am not a diorama person or a customizer person or a photography person. So I live vicariously through you guys when you show that stuff. And I'm on a lot of different groups. I see a lot of the photography and those dioramas, and they are phenomenal. All the more props to you guys for that capability and those skills, because I do not have those skills. But what other cool Arctic characters do you guys want to see down the line? Do you think we possibly could get the Ice Saber with the Ice Viper? Since we've got that snowboard, they're going to probably want to reuse that snowboard with the Ice Viper. So is the Ice Saber something that we would get? Or would they do, since they hinted at a Stinger in Arctic colors, like the Arctic Hiss, would we get the Arctic Stinger and then have another driver with that snowboard that came with the Snow Serpent version 1? Possibly. Speculation. You never know. They're going to have to do something if they're going to do that Stinger. They're going to have to give it a driver of some sort, since they did give a Snow Serpent kind of body to the Arctic Hiss driver with the Hiss head. Maybe they'll give the Stinger driver a different deco or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure how they would go about doing that, but it's definitely something to think about. So I guess that's going to do it. This was going to be a short one. You think Iceberg's going to come with the snowboard instead of the Ice Viper and stuff like that? You think Bobby World? Thank you for joining us in the chat. Appreciate it. You think we'll get the snowboard with Iceberg? Interesting. The thing about Iceberg is that he had no accessories. The vintage package figure, zero accessories except for one rifle. That was it. So if they give him that snowboard, that's great, because he didn't come with anything else. They need to build that figure out and give them some more accessories. But sometimes they do weird things like the same as the vintage, like they did with the swapping of the Python Patrol soldier and trooper and different oddball things. They kind of follow those vintage weird mistakes through. So I think maybe they may try to do that and just give him a rifle. That's just my gut feeling. But maybe they would have his helmet come off, and maybe he would have like a pistol that would be on him, or a knife, something that would be like that. But I'm wondering if they would keep it very minimal, just as a joke. But I don't know. It's interesting. But I would like him to come with that. I think that's a good idea, Bobby World, having him come with the snowboard. I think the ice stuff that's coming in is cool, but I really want a regular stun. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a stun Lego Star Wars kid. I think we will get a stun. I think it's in that same realm as either $100 scale, if they just keep it normal scale for classified and don't give it a lot of bells and whistles, give it the pilot. I think it fits in that $100 price point. But if they start giving it all kinds of extra stuff and extra equipment and this and that, then it gets into that 150 scale, the 150 to 250 scale. So I hope they keep it minimal. That's just my hope. But I do want it. I love this stun. I think it's a really cool vehicle. Um, let's see. The 25th anniversary one came with a snowboard. Oh, he did. Well, there you go then. And they're using a lot of the modern versions of the characters. They're starting with the vintage, and they're using a lot of modern themes and ideas for the figures. So that's great if he came with that. So that probably means he's going to come with it again. So that's a good call out there, Bobby World. Um, so that's interesting. So there you go. That kind of probably gives us an idea as what Iceberg's going to look like. He'll probably come with a helmet, a knife, a gun, a rifle, and that snowboard. But yeah, that's cool. I look forward to that. I thought Iceberg's character in the Sunbow was a little odd because he was a guy that hated heat. So he was from Texas, and he hated the heat, and he wanted to go into a snow area. And that's why I became an Arctic type character. But in one episode, he turned into like a porpoise. Do you think they'll include a porpoise with Iceberg? Because they've been adding all kinds of animals that didn't go with characters originally, like a warthog with Road Pig. He didn't have a warthog. No, that was Nagahide. Nagahide. No, we did have one. What am I thinking of? Um, Road Pig had the bulldog, and he didn't have the bulldog in the vintage, right? And then Snake Eyes with the polar bear, that didn't exist in vintage either. And a lot of the other animals that they've been doing, Yabo wasn't in the vintage. The extra gators weren't in the vintage. I'm trying to think of what other animals that are new animals. Um, I think that might be all the new animals. But would they give Iceberg a porpoise to go with a seal porpoise to go with him? And would he be a figure and animal price point with that porpoise? I don't know if Hasbro would go that far, but they've been doing a lot of other crazy stuff. So you never know. That would be incredible if they did that, because in Sunbow he turned into a porpoise. Oh man, that was funny. They did some crazy stuff with Sunbow. But like I said, I don't know. But that would be interesting. But I would like to get some more Arctic characters like Stalker version 2 with his kayak, Blizzard, and a Tiger Force Blizzard. Sean Jones, did Blizzard have skis or snowboard? Um, Blizzard had weird skis. They were longer skis and they were wider skis, but he did come with skis, and he had the ski poles and a bunch of extra equipment. He had a bigger backpack and a bunch of extra. His helmet came off, so he had a lot of extra gear with him, and they were larger gear than Snow Job's gear. So yeah, he did have skis. He did not come with. He may have even came with snowshoes as well, but definitely not a snowboard. Snowshoes, skis, poles, helmet, backpack, and stuff like that. But he looks really cool. He was definitely a bigger, bulkier figure. So if they do him, he's going to be a bigger figure. He may be even a deluxe figure as well. So that would be interesting if he comes out next year and Iceberg comes out next year, and this vehicle with a snow deco female character comes out next year with the Arctic Hiss, with the Snowcat, and so on. And it'd be also nice if they did Stalker with his kayak. So if they did all that stuff next year, it'd be a completely Arctic year for G.I. Joe and the classified team and Hasbro. But I don't know if they're going to come out with all that stuff in 1 year. It'd be interesting if they did, but I don't think it will be. And then the HasLab is going to be more of a water, I think a water vehicle. The Moray is going to be next year. So then after that, you'll start getting a lot of water-based stuff, like maybe the shark, the devilfish, the water moccasin, and maybe different diver or water-based characters, like maybe Shipwreck with his longshoreman deco, or maybe a diver Shipwreck, or several other characters decoed in diver costumes, maybe a different wetsuit, because wetsuit had like 5 variations. He had like a silver variation, a black variation, a yellow and type variation. So a lot of those guys had different variations, and that would go with a lot of the divers that they've already released. Yes, Moray Hydrophora with Lampreys. Yep. I think that's pretty much everybody's consensus as to the next HasLab. Who knows? They could surprise us and it'd be something else. But that's what the predominant thought process on that is that we're going to get the Moray. Oops, there goes my snow serpents. They're trying to fall over. Stay up there, you two. All right, so I'm going to let you guys go on this one. Thanks, everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody again joining me, contributing, adding to the conversation, and everybody after the fact, the replay crew, and all you guys commenting on the videos after the fact. Thank you very much. Tune in tomorrow for that really big episode. It's going to be, thank you, Lego Star Wars Kid. I appreciate it, as always. That video tomorrow, and we're getting into a bunch of new stuff starting next week. Almost every video next week is a new character, a new item to play with and to get into. So we're going to have a really good week next week for videos. Give us the bug. That would be an interesting HasLab, wouldn't it? The bug? It would be pretty big. I don't think it would be as big as the whale, but it would be kind of cool. It's an underwater vehicle, and I really like the figure that comes with that. What is the water vehicle Viper's name? He's got a really cool name, because we are getting the what is the guy with the stingray? What is his name? Hydra Viper. So we are getting the Hydra Viper. They name only the Hydra Viper. So that would be a fun vehicle to get. Would be the bug. I can imagine that classified scale, all those compartments and things like that. Yeah, I think that would be cool. A cool HasLab. It would be very big though. So thank you guys again, and that does it. We will see you guys in the next one. Take care. And this is a Cobra video, so hail Cobra!